Hello there, this is Awhobiwom and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time, you are welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome. And if you are a returning subscriber, you already know how it is. Thank you so much for coming back again to see another video. So guys, on this video, I would be explaining legalization. I would be explaining the processes for application fees, and then I would be talking a lot about proof of funds in this video. So I decided that it's best that these issues have a separate video on their own, because every time I talk about them in other videos, the information gets mixed up somehow, because I still see a lot of people coming back to me being unclear about this particular thing. So guys, this is dedicated to everyone who has been struggling with understanding legalization and proof of funds. Okay guys, let's jump into the gist for today. So guys, today I would start with the first thing, which is legalization. So now, what legalization is you have your documents from your previous education and you're about to bring them into the Polish educational system in order for you to start another degree, so either a master's or a bachelor's degree. Now, these documents from your previous school needs to be authenticated and verified and approved before they are being introduced to the educational system here in Poland. So what that means is you need to take the documents to the country where these documents are originating from. So wherever school that you went to, whatever country that is, you need to take those documents to that country. The Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, they need to stamp at the back of these documents to verify that these documents are real, and then you take it to the embassy, the Polish embassy in your country where you're applying from, and then you have them legalized. Then you can finally bring them to Poland. Now, legalization is so important, guys, because I, for one, I had half-baked information when I was coming. So I had done my legalization from only the ministry. So I went through the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Abuja, Nigeria, and I had my documents stamped, but I did not proceed to take them to the embassy. Now, on getting here to Poland, I submitted the documents at the international office and they were rejected. And this is because the Polish embassy had not legalized. So your legalization is only complete when the Polish embassy has put their own stamp as well at the back of your document. So what that meant was I had to send my documents back to Nigeria and have them legalized. I was given a period of 30 days to do this, or I would forfeit my admission. So that's how important this legalization topic is. So now, having said that, I would talk about the process involved and everything. So if, for example, like I said, you need to take the documents back to the country where you schooled. So if, for example, you did your high school examination in Nigeria, for example, or in Ghana, that's where you did it, and then you did your university. So this is someone who's applying for a bachelor's. You did your bachelor's degree in another country. So what you have to do is you need to take both documents to the countries that you went, so the ministries in those countries. So if you take your WAEC to the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Nigeria, while you take your bachelor's degree to whatever country where you did your bachelor's degree. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So you don't have to take documents from a school in a different country to your country. It doesn't work that way. So now, what is the process? So for Nigerians, the first thing you have to do is you have to go to the Ministry of Education in Abuja, guys. Please, the one in Abuja. Legalization is only done in Abuja. That's where you do it. So you take your documents. Now, what documents? I'm talking for masters. I'm talking about your bachelor's degree certificate, your transcripts, and your WAEC documents as well. So your WAEC certificates, the original copies of these documents. For bachelor's degree, you're taking your testimonial and you're taking your WAEC documents, original copies only. So now when you get to this Ministry of Education, of course they have like information already put out for you to see the steps that are there, but I'm just telling you so you know ahead. So when you get there, there's a cyber cafe downstairs where you need to go, and you have to pay a remitter fee of I think 2,000 naira, and then you need to scan and upload your documents. So they would scan your documents per page. I think it's about 300 naira per page or thereabout. So they would scan your documents, upload your documents to the online platform. You would also buy a scratch card, which was the remitter. You would buy the scratch card and they would use it to verify your WAEC result. Now, when this is done and your documents have been uploaded, you would also need to pay, of course, you would need to pay the cyber cafe an amount of money for their services. After this is done, then you can take your documents upstairs. So from what I've heard, is the 8th floor now. I don't know if it will change, but of course, like I mentioned, when you get to the ministry, you have this information written there, so you know exactly where you're going. You will take your documents to the Office of Educational Services. So when you get there, you would hand over these documents that you have already paid, plus all your documents from the cafe. You would take it to them, and then they would sign and they would stamp on it. You also need to ask them for an eligibility letter. So this is like a letter allowing you to go, like that you're eligible to take up a program in Poland. So they would give you these documents as well. So now when you're done with all these documents, the next thing to do is to take your documents to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Now, Ministry of Foreign Affairs is not so far away from the Ministry of Education, but because of COVID restrictions, they have a lot of restrictions getting in. However, when you get there, you would take your documents, you would hand it over to them, they would check through. You'd also need to pay money for the signing of each document. So per document, I think it's still about 300 naira. So you would also pay this, and then they would sign your documents and give them back to you. Now you are done with the first stage. When you're done with this, I think you may or may not have spent approximately 5,000 naira or thereabouts, or more. It depends on the number of your pages. Do not forget, because you're charged based on the number of pages on your transcript, your documents, and all of that. So now this is the legalization part A. When you're done with this, then we proceed to part B. So part B would require you to take your documents to the embassy. Now you need an appointment to be booked in order to have access to taking your documents for legalization. Prior to now, you were not doing that, but now that's the way to go. So legalization at the embassy is, the cost of legalization at the embassy is 30 euros per document. So if you have 10 documents, you would pay 300, but of course you're not going to have over 10. You should have 4 or 5 documents. So 30 euros per document, and your money must be paid in cash and in euros at the embassy. In order to book an appointment for your legalization at the embassy, you need to go to their website, which is the e-consulate website. I'll put it on the screen. So you would go there and then you click on legal matters. When you get to legal matters, it would redirect you to a page where you have to pick the country that you are applying from and where the embassy is located in that country, and then it will redirect you to a page. However, on this page you could either find a date of, like, you would find a date where like the appointments are going to be available. So I know that at the embassy right now, what they do is they put out a date once every week. So you need to check to see what date is available for the next legalization or for the next visa booking, if it's visa booking in your case. So yes, so that's how to go about the legalization. Now, when you're done, you get your appointment, you take your documents to the embassy, hand over the money, they would legalize your documents and hand them back to you. And that is the end of legalization. Of course, for my story, I already told you, you cannot come to Poland without your legalized documents. So make sure you legalize your documents, okay? Okay, the number 2 thing that I will be talking about is the payment of your application fees. Application or enrollment fees. Now, every university has how they name it. Some universities call it enrollment, some call it application. However, some even infuse them together and call them both enrollment and application. Now, this is a fee that you're required to pay, a non-refundable fee that you pay in order to process your admission. So now, when to pay these fees, it's always confusing, because now there are 2 methods in which application fees are paid. Now, some universities just give you an account number, they give you their account details, and then you would do like a bank transfer to this account. While some other universities have it in a way that you would have page redirection. So they would redirect you to a page where you need to put in your credit card details and you would pay while logged on to your profile. for the first method, you would need to pay from a bank, and this usually takes a long period of time, which if you're paying from Nigeria, it takes a long period of time, which it might even be so long that you might miss out on your application window. So it is best to find someone abroad who can just help you do the bank transaction. So they pay this to the account for you. You can pay this money from anywhere in the world, so far as you just put in the account details and you make the payments, and then they would give you a PDF confirmation which you would need to upload on the portal. Now for the second type of payment, the one that entails you logging to your profile and being redirected to a page where you have to pay. In this situation, you can pay with your bank. So you can pay with your bank card, so your ATM card, you can pay with this. So this could be Visa card or MasterCard. It depends on the options available. So this one you could pay by yourself by just putting your card details and just following through with this, or you could still need someone to pay them for you. Now for paying tuition, I know that paying tuition from Nigeria is very difficult at the moment because it takes a long amount of time. However, they allow, like this is allowed, you can go to a bank and try to generate like a Form A, and you would pay a couple of bank charges, because I remember that when my school fees were being paid from Nigeria as well, I had that issue where they had paid this exact amount of money to the account, but when we got to the university, when the money got to university, it was less. So I had to like go back and check and add it up. So this happens as well. So when you're sending your school fees from Nigeria, you have to be certain and you have to be sure that you have done your calculations and you have added the bank charges and the FX rate, so that they can just take out the money and the exact money would be reflecting on the school side. At the moment, international money transfer operators, these are IMTOs. I'm giving examples like TransferWise and Azimo Pay. These guys are no longer working in Nigeria, so the option to pay is definitely either to use the bank or to get someone who can help you to do your payments, so it can be faster and you would be able to meet up with your timeline. The other thing I'm going to talk about here today is the proof of funds. So what I'm going to do is I've gone ahead to the embassy's page and I've taken out the part that talks about the proof of funds for studies, and we're going to just discuss it and I'll try to explain it for you here today. So I'll pick up my phone and I would read it out. So what we have here is, in order for you to come for studies, you need to have a document confirming that you have possession of financial resources to cover the cost of your return travel. So your return travel and all your cost of stay in Poland. So they've gone ahead to give you a breakdown of the amount of money. So now this is a minimum amount of money. This is the minimum requirement. So from what we have here, we have 2,500 zloty for your return trip. We have the cost of accommodation, but this one is based on your amount of rent. So if you already gave your accommodation documents and whatever money that you're supposed to pay monthly, so let's take it that you're paying 700 zloty monthly, so that will be 700 times 2 years, because most times it's 2 years that 700 times 1 year, because you're applying, your visa is valid for 1 year, so that will be 700 times 12. So that plus the 25 for your return ticket plus the 701, which is according to the embassy your minimum amount for your stay, like for your feeding and all of that. So when you add all this together, according to the embassy, they have given you a limit. This is a minimum number of 8,412 zloty. This is about 840k if we are going by the Google rates. This is about 840k. However, I need us to now go down. Now this is the amount of money, the minimum amount of money. They're telling you to have 850k, for example. This is how much they're asking you to have minimum. So of course we're going to be going above that, so we're looking at having enough money in our account that is above this minimum. So now the first option is to use a traveler's check. So guys, I've gone ahead to try to check about traveler's check, and at the moment traveler's check is something that is almost not existent anymore. Like a lot of banks are not issuing traveler's check anymore, so let's scrap that out. The next option here, B, says original certificate of a credit card limit issued in the bank that issued the credit card, issued by the bank that issued the credit card. So you need an original certificate. Guys, with everything that you're applying, you need to always have original copies. So now you need an original document of your credit card. So let me quickly explain this credit card. Now, I've done my research and I found out 2 banks in Nigeria that do the credit card thing. The first one is the First Bank. So under First Bank, there is a card called Visa Gold. So First Bank Visa Gold card. So now this account, it can stand in as a credit card. So you just need to put in your money in USD. So you need to convert the money you want to show for proof of funds to USD, and then you go to the bank and you register and you get this card, and then you get an original statement with the limit, showing the limit that you have on this card and the money that you have in the card. The second bank that does this that I had checked is Guarantee Trust Bank. So GTB does this. So this is GT Bank Visa credit card. So they also have the same, it works exactly the same as a Visa Gold. So please visit the nearest bank and just ask about these 2 cards, and you can use this method for your credit card. Now let's go to the next option here. So the next option here says, the next one says original certificate of cash in a bank having its registered office in the territory of the Republic of Poland. So this is if you already have an account in your name that is residing in Poland, in one of the Polish banks, or in one of the banks here in Poland. And then the D says documents confirming granting a national scholarship. So this is just for scholarship holders. So you just need to show your documents for your scholarship. And then E says original certificate of employment and amount of earnings. So this is showing your original certificate of employment. So like your contract and your amount of earnings. This could be your pay slips. You can show this. So now if I'm self-sponsored and I'm taking documents, you can either show any of this. Now this is an all situation. This is not that you need to show all these documents. You need to show either one of them. So if, for example, I'm taking credit card, I know that I'm going to the credit card and I'm to the bank and I'm creating a credit card account in order to show for this purpose. If I'm a scholarship holder, I know that I'm going to show my original scholarship document. If I have a bank account in Poland, I know that I'm going to show my bank statements and my bank account details in Poland. Now the next one says original certificate. So if I'm a worker, for example, and I'm self-sponsored, I want to show my original contracts and my pay slips. Now this is dicey because if you're going to show this, because you're not showing the proof, you're not showing your bank details, you are only showing that you are employed and these were your pay slips. However, they know that on getting admission you might leave the job, so that does not suffice. So in this kind of situation, if you want to do it by yourself, I would think, I'm not sure, but I would think that you would give that employment letter and you would give the pay slips, and then you also need a document that is verifying from your company that you're not about to lose your job, so that they know that, okay, this income is going to keep coming to sustain you. So probably you're taking a study leave or something, I don't know, but I don't really recommend this option for people who want to do self-sponsorship. Now that brings us to the last option. So now this says original letter of sponsorship confirmed by a notary public. If applicant does not finance his or her stay in Poland, the sponsor confirms the possession of funds to cover the cost of return and the cost of applicant stay in Poland on the basis of the documents listed in A, B, C, or E. So now this is a sponsor giving you a notarized document. So they are not just writing an application that I am sponsoring. They are going to write that, but it has to be notarized. They have to take it to a notary public. So there have to be some legal binding to that document. So you need this. And then your sponsor needs to provide additional documents. Now, any of the above can be additional documents. So A was traveler's check. It can be with traveler's check. B can be with original credit card. So in this case, your sponsor is giving you a credit card details, like his credit card details, original ones, showing that I'm going to sponsor and this is the money. And then C is that they have a bank in Poland. So for example, you have a sponsor that is already here in Poland, already has an account here in Poland. So what that sponsor is doing is the sponsor is writing a letter and also attaching their bank details from a bank here in Poland. And then the final option E is that you have a sponsor who has written a document of you have a sponsor who has written a letter of sponsorship that is notarized, and then they are adding their original certificates and their pay slips. So with that being said, this sums up the proof of funds. So you are either doing any of these options. So if you're doing self-funded, then you take the options above, but if you're doing a sponsorship, you take the F and an additional document. So guys, I hope that I've been able to clarify this. So it doesn't matter how much the person has in the account. The person, number one, has to have enough money to cover your stay, and then these documents always have to be original. If those documents are not original, if they have not been notarized, it would not fly. So even if this sponsor is a business person, so he has a business, he is not employed by anybody, he needs to show, in this case, he has his own business, so he needs to show like a CAC registration. So this is like a registration of your company. You need to show your earnings from the company. You need to also notarize the letter. So this CAC and your earnings end up serving the purpose of the option where you're supposed to give your employment and your payment document. So guys, I hope I've been able to clarify this issue. Thank you so much for watching this video. Guys, do not forget to subscribe. Do not forget to like. Do not forget to comment. And guys, please share this video because there are a lot of people who are getting these things wrong and they would need a lot of insights. If they watch this video, they would get all their questions answered. So guys, do not forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.